behind all these books there is a story waiting to be unfolded, and that's the magic of books. It's like Ali Baba's cave, you know, with all the treasures. Aladdin's just waiting to light the lamp and be transported someplace. It's just a magical place. It's the potential. It's the discovery waiting to happen.
Book Week Scotland has been a huge national celebration of books, reading and writing, with over 350 events across the country for people of all ages and abilities, and a host of other initiatives which have really captured the imagination. Schools across the country have been heavily involved in Book Week Scotland, which is great. It's exactly what we intended. First of all, we've distributed a family reading pack to every single child starting school with 4 wonderful books and a host of ideas about sharing them and enjoying them in a family context.
All children love stories. Our job as a school is to help to build upon that interest in books and to promote early literacy. And I think the Scottish Book Trust has done a marvellous job of providing a book pack for all Primary 1 children.
We are conscious of trying to encourage children to develop their vocabulary, and the only way we can develop their vocabulary is engaging them in talk and engaging them in reading, and it's getting that love of books that engages both of those things. And I think that's where Book Week Scotland really fits in. It's engaging imagination as well as developing language and literacy.
Moon! He tried to grab just one colour. That was too late.
When children are reading books and they have to take on these different characters, they become a part of the story, and especially if it's a character that influences the direction in which the story goes, then they sort of take ownership of that as well, so they see themselves as, you know, very influential in the outcome of the story.
Book Week Scotland has been a revelation. The children have been so excited. They have been absolutely on board from day one.
For Book Week Scotland, RNIB are doing 3 things. You can come into the transcription centre. You can either record a piece of your favourite book in audio. You can also transcribe it into Braille. And RNIB's Insight Radio are having a series of special shows on Book Week Scotland, talking to authors who have helped or worked with RNIB in the past. Book Week Scotland is so important to get people reading. Someone who's lost their sight, it's a devastating thing to have happen. But the return of literature and the return of books is sort of the first step to getting your life back. So reading books in audio form has actually saved lives, so it is perhaps one of the most important things RNIB do.
Libraries, of course, have been heavily involved in Book Week Scotland. For example, there have been at least 100 authors in 100 libraries up and down the country, and this has been great because people can freely participate, freely meet authors that they're interested in and hear what they have to say.
He'd listened to stories about the grey hulks that grew like monsters from the deep, sliding along the water, destined for battle, and about the cruise liners sporting red funnels that were cheered off their slipways, folk bursting with pride to be part of this city with its great river.
I think the intimacy of these kind of events is very important. It's just a kinship, it's this love of books, and you just feel that you're touching people's lives, and you know that they've enjoyed meeting your characters, and these characters are there inside your head, and you've brought them to life, and these people know them.
I suppose one of the loveliest things about Book Week Scotland has been the book sculptures that we were able to commission and the treasure hunt around the country that we organised over the first 5 days of Book Week Scotland. There's been huge excitement about that. These are things of really great beauty.
Winner's Cup.
I don't normally enter competitions. I'm not normally lucky at all, but I just decided I would chance it. You know, I was home for lunch, decided I could come to the art school and give it a go, and yeah, I got lucky. Whoever is doing the sculptures obviously knows and loves the books themselves, because there's just like little details everywhere that you notice that are so specific to the book, and really there's a lot of thought in it. This is mine to keep, this fabulous little cup with you can see the text all the way around it, and in the middle a winning cup and a good book, the perfect combination.
One of the other things that we were very keen to establish as part of this first Book Week Scotland is the reading hour. That's really a call to people across the country, whether they're in businesses or not, to stop for an hour at 11 a.m. on St Andrew's Day and read a book and think about and realise the value of books, reading and writing. This year we work very closely with a number of businesses, and in particular the STUC's learning arm, in order to reach workforces right across Scotland. So for example, the Fred Macaulay Show broadcast from First Bus in Blantyre, who are participating in the reading hour.
Tell us what you're reading at the moment.
I'm currently, I read a story there.
No, don't look at that book. Tell me what you're reading at the moment.
50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey.
Well, I think reading's very important. I feel as though it's important for people to get their mind active. They're reading a story and they're starting to think about things in the story that could possibly, maybe it's happened to them or relates to something. It's not like sitting in front of a TV or playing a game. It's actually they're reading someone's story. It keeps their mind active because they're totally thinking all the time. I wonder, I can't wait to get back to that book and see what happens next. I wonder what happens in the next chapter.
For the last week I've been a member of the League of Extraordinary Book Lovers. This has involved answering questions via email, on Twitter, and today we're at the Mitchell Library where I've had almost a desk where people are able to come up and ask for recommendations. We've been getting lots of different questions across lots of different subjects. Probably the toughest thing I've had this week has been, could you recommend a Scottish equivalent to The Great Gatsby?
Well, I had one gentleman who was interested in poetry. I managed to recommend a book to him because he likes Norman McCaig's poetry. And I then asked him if he had read Andrew Gregg's book, To the Loch of the Green Corrie, which is more or less a tribute to Norman McCaig, and he hadn't read it. So he went away quite happy.
I've been a member of the League of Extraordinary Book Lovers. I have to encourage people how to love reading books.
I think Book Week Scotland's a wonderful initiative. I can't believe we actually haven't in the past had a week where we celebrate books in Scotland as a whole, and I think that's something that should continue.
Now the way that internet companies make money is not by selling millions of copies of 10 products, but by selling millions of products. And the companies that are about quality and content have to compete with that rather aggressive, what's called the long tail.
And 3. A hooligan in the sauce.
There is a lot of pillars, yeah. There's 4 big pillars just along the front. No, we've got windows there and there. That's what we've got there.
If you want to be a famous footballer when you grow up, you practice kicking a ball any spare minute you've got, and you'll get better and better. If you want to be a famous author when you grow up, what do you practice doing any spare minute you've got? Reading, writing.
The thing I'd take away today is just like knowing that there's other people here, other people who like writing just as much as I will, and people that can help me with my writing.
If you're trying to wonder, what would David Cameron do if you accused him of stealing £20? And you go, but then ask, what would your mum do if I accused her of stealing £20? Then not only can you make a guess of what that reaction's like, you feel a wee bit you feel it bristles a little bit.
When I write, I don't really include like my own personality traits in it. I try and write, like create a whole new character. But it showed me like if you put your own personality traits in it, it makes it a lot easier because like you know yourself better than anybody.
I was asked to do a masterclass in creative writing for Book Week Scotland. It was a session about how to bring the reader into a story, how to keep them intrigued by your narrative as it unfolds. And the way you do that is by suggesting secrets underneath the surface of the story.
Yeah, we don't know why he's there, why he's following her. You know, is he breaking the law in some way? Is this a relationship that's ending and she's trying to get away from him? I like the way you kind of kept that out of sight.
Books are kind of static objects. They're not quite as flashy and glamorous as the internet and TV and film and stuff like that, they don't make a lot of noise. So to have an organisation like the Scottish Book Trust making that noise on behalf of books and on behalf of writers to this extent is just necessary.
Books are really good to read because some are very funny, some are very scary, some are very happy, and some stories are very sad stories.